The world we inhabit is not as free, or certain, or safe as you might think. The things that you believe to be unassailably evident are little more than shadows dancing behind a curtain, a masquerade crafted and dutifully upheld by an organization known as the Foundation. The file you are about to hear contains containment procedures, descriptions, testing logs, historical and in some cases first-hand accounts of the anomalous objects the Foundation serves to secure, contain, and protect. Its contents have been thoroughly scrutinized by the Ethics Committee and approved by the O5 Council for release to trusted associates of the Foundation. This is SCP Unredacted. Hey, real quick, just before we get started, I want to say today is the 1-year anniversary of the day I published my first episode, and it's come a long way. And thank you so much for making this what it is. I want to say thank you to some very special people. First, to my amazing wife, who puts up with all the time that I spend doing this. Thanks to my patrons who have supported me financially through this. You're able to hear the sounds that I'm making right now the way that you can hear them because of my patrons. Thank you so much. I want to say thanks to my first patron, Eli Shoup. You've been with me since almost the beginning. And my newest patron, who shall remain anonymous because I think you might like it better that way. All I can say is that I'm still in awe that you would support me. Thank you all so much for standing behind me while I do this crazy shit. And finally, thanks to CreepyOtter. This is my first collaboration, and you're going to hear CreepyOtter's amazing voice. And you guys that are listening on YouTube, go down to the bottom of the page, check out his link, go to his page, listen to his stuff, and definitely check out his tales. The guy's got an amazing voice for tales. I love his pacing. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up and get on with the episode. SCP-5798, Interview with a Drain Snake. Item number SCP-5798, Level 2 Restricted. Containment Class, Safe. Disruption Class, Dark. Risk Class, Notice. Special Containment Procedures. The building containing SCP-5798 has been purchased by the Foundation and shuttered from public access. 2 Foundation Guard personnel are to be stationed on site for the purposes of deterring trespassing. Description: SCP-5798 is an entity of indeterminate length, residing in the plumbing system of a YMCA building in Florida. Subterranean imaging techniques have revealed that SCP-5798's length takes up the entirety of the building's plumbing system. The entity's physical appearance is that of a mass of flesh, terminating in several tentacle-like appendages. SCP-5798's epidermal coloration is entirely transparent, and as a result, veins, muscle tissue, and small blonde hairs have been observed as part of the entity. SCP-5798 is mostly dormant and has only been observed to surface for brief periods of time through a small drainage grate located in the shower of a men's locker room, fitting its appendages through the slots on the grate. The entity is capable of extending up to 1.2 meters from the drain. SCP-5798 is sapient and is capable of communicating coherently in English. See Addendum 5798.1. Addendum 5798.1. Incident Log. Initial research of SCP-5798 was conducted by Junior Researcher Haddo. While tuning subterranean radar equipment inside the locker room, the following events occurred, a log of which has been transcribed from surveillance footage. Researcher Haddo sits in front of the shower taking notes. A voice is heard coming from the drain.
Hey.
Huh?
Haddo looks up from his notes and turns his head.
I'm over here, bud. Down the drain.
Oh.
That's it? Oh? You talk to someone like me often?
I just wasn't aware you could speak. Believe it or not, you're normal compared to some of the things I conversed with over the past week.
Seriously? You work at a 7-Eleven or something?
Practically. Oh, I guess they'll want me to ask you questions. Let's see, you have a name?
Don't think so.
What are you?
Don't care.
How do you get into, your situation?
Don't know.
God. Sorry, I'm just I can't give answers like that. They'll want information.
Shit. Well, I'm really sorry, man. I genuinely cannot answer those questions. Who's they?
My bosses. Look, even if you have to make something up, I won't know. I just need research credits, please.
Haddo brings his left hand to his temple and begins massaging it.
I wasn't trying to be rude or anything. I just don't think about those things, you know? I apologize.
It's fine. I'm fine.
You sure about that, man? Promise you can talk to me about it.
What? I mean, Christ, I'm talking to a fucking drain monster. This is ridiculous.
There's no need to be prejudiced. I can speak and think just as well as you can. I'm willing to lend an ear if you think it would help. Just pretend I'm not here and speak your mind. No filter.
You sure? I mean, I'd sound unhinged. I'm already talking to a
drain creature, I know. Just give it a shot, dude. I won't judge.
Fine. No, God, no. I'm not alright.
This is how healing happens.
I'm overworked, I'm exhausted, I'm lonely, I'm still hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And you think $1 trillion organization would take care of that, but they don't. I do pointless research all day in hopes of maybe getting a paid vacation 1 year and a complimentary plaque in the site break room or some shit. Sure, if I'm lucky enough to be so useless to the Foundation that they'll actually let me go, I'll be able to retire at 60 where I can own a nice little compensation house for me to fuck off and die in peace. That's if I don't lose my life talking to a fucking drain snake or end up in a wheelchair because I looked at a book the wrong way on a Tuesday or some other contrived bullshit.
Haddo groans and begins sobbing into his hands.
Let it all out, bud. Let it all out. I'm listening.
Girls don't like me. Guys don't like me. Hell, at this point my fucking hand doesn't like me either. I have so much work due all the time. And I'm shit at time management. And I have to ask for a deadline extension. And it never ends. I haven't slept more than 4 hours in years. Years!
Haddo continues crying.
Jeez, that's awful, dude. Never realized you guys up there had it so bad.
Only if you're poor.
I don't mean to make you jealous, but I never had to deal with anything like that.
What would you know about anything? You're a fucking drain snake.
Hey, I'm pretty cultured. Like, I got it all down here. I can sleep as much as I want, watch movies all day.
God. Wait, really?
Totally, dude. Movies, TV shows, games, YouTube, whatever.
Well, now I'm interested. How do you do all that?
No clue. I just think about it really hard and it happens. I've always been able to do it. I basically spend all my free time online.
So you have internet? You sleep as much as you want and what else do you do? How do you occupy yourself all day?
Like I said, podcasts, message boards, Warcraft. Speaking of which, I do have a raid coming up in 20, so I might have to step away for a bit. That's good with you.
Isn't that a paid game?
Bitcoin? You ever try crypto, dude? It's the future, I'm telling you.
Man, it sounds great down there.
Life's just better. You'd probably enjoy it. I take it you're not much of a socialite anyways, but the only downside about living down here is it gets a little lonely.
Can't you just talk to people online?
Yeah, but it's just not the same. Why do you think I started talking to you?
Good point.
Been getting into writing recently. Helps with the introspection.
You write?
Whenever I want, for as long as I want.
That's all I've ever wanted to do.
Down here you'd be able to write all day.
You're so right. I want to be a romance author, but I'm too scared to actually go through with it.
Hell yeah, that's the spirit. I'm telling you, come down here, dude. I promise you'd love it. I get a friend, you get the life you want to live. It'll all work out.
Come down there?
Yeah, I can bring you down here. Wouldn't that be neat?
I mean, I couldn't.
Your call. Suit yourself. Something's telling me you're gonna regret it if you stay.
You know what? You're right. Fuck this.
Haddo throws his notebook and pen down. He pushes over a stack of imaging equipment.
Fuck you, Foundation. I'm living my own life.
Fuck yeah, you are. I mean, I don't want to pressure you or anything. As soon as you step into the shower, I'm gonna pull you down here, so...
Haddo leaps into the shower.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm finally free.
SCP-5798 emerges from the grate, extending upwards and tracing its appendages on its surroundings. The entity lunges forward, wraps its appendages around Haddo's right ankle, and pulls him towards the drain. Haddo gleefully shouts. It uses another appendage to bring Haddo's left ankle closer to the grate and pulls with enough force to begin pushing the bottoms of Haddo's feet through the holes of the drain. Haddo screams, and the sound of skin ripping is audible through the locker room. By anomalous means, the entity manages to pull both of Haddo's feet through the grate. Blood and excess tissue fills the shower floor. SCP-5798 pulls Haddo's ankles, contorting the bone to slip through the holes. Audible grinding of the cartilage is heard, and cracking sounds are intermediated with Haddo's increasingly distressed vocalizations. Haddo passes out and regurgitates a mixture of blood and stomach contents. A loud crunching noise is heard as SCP-5798 snaps the tibia and fibula of researcher Haddo's lower legs. Several more appendages emerge from the grate to retrieve excess skin. Haddo seizes and continues to vomit. In his thrashing, he's broken several teeth, and his nose appears to be displaced. Haddo appears to regain consciousness and vocalizes unintelligibly. As the entity attempts to squeeze Haddo's crotch through the grate, another snapping sound, assumed to be Haddo's pelvic bone, is heard. Haddo goes limp as SCP-5798 squeezes his torso and stomach through the grate. A slurry of entrails and viscera is expelled from Haddo's mouth, which increases in concentration as more of his body is forced through the drain. Haddo's ribcage snaps and his upper torso sinks to the floor. The last of Haddo's body, the head, is pulled through the drain. Excess brain matter, hair, ocular muscles, and teeth surround the immediate area of the grate. The slurry of bodily fluids and entrails stains the shower. End log. Upon further interaction with SCP-5798, the entity used researcher Haddo's voice to communicate. No relevant or new information has been gained from this research, and the entity claims to have no recollection of researcher Haddo. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you like what you hear, follow the link in the description to patreon.com/scpunredacted and help support me by becoming a patron for as little as $3 a month. You can get access to production logs, merchandise, recognition, and even a part in a skip. Regardless of tier, all patrons get early access to every single episode. I don't have the talent it takes to write a skip. All I do is read. Original authors make this podcast possible, so credit to the original author. Their links in the description. Show them some love as well. Consider becoming a member of the SCP Wiki. Upvote their work and maybe write a skip of your own. Maybe I'll read it here someday. You never know if you never try. The content of this podcast and content relating to the SCP Foundation, including the SCP Foundation logo, is licensed under Creative Commons Sharealike 3.0, and all concepts originate from scpwiki.com and its authors. This recording, being derived from this content, is hereby also released under Creative Commons Sharealike 3.0.